Hi, Mark here from the Tangibound Podcast Network and host of the flagship show, the Tangibound Podcast. Did you know that we over at Tangibound are always looking for amazing podcasts to promote? And did you also know that we are also proud nerds and geeks of everything from movies, music, gaming, TV shows, and comic books to wrestling, MMA, soccer, and football? Whatever you can nerd or geek out about, we've got it. And if you're interested, we can help you find it. And if you're a show looking for a place to call home, we've got you covered. Side effects may include upset stomach, dizziness, tumors, shakes, and in some rare cases, death from excessive laughter. Though to be fair, it's only sometimes. Other side effects may include diarrhea, gallstones, heart palpitations, and strong desire for cookies on the dark side. Talk to your doctor and visit TangiboundNetwork.com and see if Tangibound Network is right for you.
We're not doctors, therapists, trained professionals of any kind, so if you feel you do need help, please reach out and get the help you need. We have a whole list of things on our files page over on Facebook at facebook.com/crazylifepodcast, and or just search on the internet for the suicide prevention hotline number, or go to NAMI.org or whatever resource you can find. But just please reach out for help if you need it. If you feel as though you're going to harm yourself or others, definitely reach out. And try not to be alone. Also, if you feel that way and you realize that you're writing a note or making plans of how you would do, like harm yourself or others, definitely reach out. That's a huge red flag. And lastly, please do not replace the idea of therapy with listening to this show. Again, if you need help, please reach out and get the help that you need, or contact us. We can try to help you find the help that you need.
Life sucks to the last drop. Are you gonna blow your head off? Take good aim and don't forget to duck. Life sucks every Monday and all the way to Sunday, but I wouldn't have it any other way. I don't care how you're doing, what's up or how's it hanging. I'd like to buy this world one last drink. Life sucks all of the time, stick it up your sunshine, and then you'll see the clouds every day. And then you'll see the clouds every day. And then you'll see the clouds every day.
Welcome to the Crazy Life, everybody. Yeah, the new intro that I did last week was just too weird. So back to the regular one.
Well, you gotta put the work in on it. You know, like Malcolm Gladwell says, you gotta put 10,000 hours into something to be considered an expert at it, right? So
This is true.
So you got 10,000 intros to do at least. Well, more than that, because the intro is very short. So.
So, welcome everybody. My name is Jen. I am your hostess, and with me, as always, we have Brian and
And no, not this week.
Hanno.
Yeah.
So, Hanno, last I heard, was feeling a little under the weather. So, we wish you best of health and all that good jazz. So, we will try to have the best show we can. Even without you, I guess.
I think he's just playing hooky, you know.
Could be just playing hooky, too.
Yeah.
I think you're right.
Yeah. he's just frolicking about on his new couch is all it is.
Yes, he has an amazing new couch, folks. Is very cool.
Yeah.
Well, how are you? What's been going on?
Pretty good. I had to go to my doctor again this week because it sucks because I had to go in last week for to talk about my blood work, and then like the day after that, I get a letter in the mail from my insurance that's like, "Hey, you have to go in for your yearly physical," and I'm like, "Oh man, I could have done both." So I was like, "All right," so I call and I schedule it, and you know, I go in, my doctor's like, weren't you just here last week? I was like, yeah, and I hand him the paperwork and he goes, oh, okay. Cause you know, you have to do it. Cause if you don't, you know, you can lose your, benefits, and it's no big deal. You know, it's a physical. So, you know, it's in my best interest to go have it anyway. You know, so I did that. And what I hate about it is it's similar, you know, like when you do your evaluation for a job, how there's always a part where the boss is like, well, what do you feel you need to work on for the next whatever time frame, you know?
Right.
Well, these have that too, you know, and it's like they have a list of things and you have to pick one of the things or come up with another one, you know? So of course I just picked weight because it is what I'm trying to work on at the moment. And, you know, so the doctor talked to me a little about that and, you know, it was all stuff that we've talked about before and, you know, whatever, but, you know, he pointed out to me because I'd lost 1.5 pounds since last week. So, and he was like, good, you know, and he goes, he's like, shoot for 1 pound. He's like, we're happy with that. He said, you know, and, he's like, don't shoot for big weight loss because it's hard to sustain, you know, versus this. And he, you know, and then of course, and I like the fact he went through the whole, like, you know, like, hey, if the scale this week says you didn't lose anything, that's okay. You know, it happens, you know, don't lose sight of what you're doing or whatever. So, you know, but it was just kind of funny how it was such on one hand, it felt like such a waste of both of our time because we've already been through it and all this, but I have to pick something. He has to talk to me about it and then sign off that he talked to me about it, you know, so it was, you know, whatever. But yeah, you know, that was, you know, pretty quick and everything and nice and whatever. So, and I got the phone number from my doctor's office because I forgot to get it last time for their COVID line so that I can try to schedule my vaccine on Monday, or I'll call in to make an appointment, you know, from that point. Not that I'm going to call and probably get in Monday. That'd be crazy. You know, I mean, if they say, hey, we have an appointment, I mean, I'm there because it's, you know, 8 minutes from the house. So it's not like it's a long drive.
Right.
But, yeah, so there was that. And, you know, I had to go up to Monroe for, you know, testosterone this week. And I talked with the doctor for a little bit because it's time for me to get my blood work done for that so that, you know, they can make sure that the testosterone is not elevating, like my PSA, you know, which can be a precursor for prostate cancer and stuff like that. So, you know, I got to go do that. And of course, you know, it's like I didn't realize it was a fasting one. I forgot because normally when they have me get blood work for the urologist, it's hemoglobin. For that, you don't have to fast. For the testosterone, you need to fast. And I forgot about that. So I go in and I'm like, hey, you know, and the phlebotomist is like, did you fast? Because it's like 3:00 in the afternoon. And I'm like, nope. Like, I sure didn't. I ate when I got up. And she goes, you can't so much, you know, she's like, we probably shouldn't do this right now then because it's only been like 2 hours since you ate. So.
Oh, that sucks.
Again, luckily it's only a few minutes up the road. So it's not like I have to drive to the other side of town or anything. Like some people have to go to a hospital or something well out of their way for it. You know, I'm fortunate that they offer so many services at that place. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I was just like, oh, you know, because otherwise I would have just fasted so that I could get it done while I was there, you know, but whatever. Mm-hmm. So, you know, it's whatever. But yeah, you know, plus the doctor wanted to, you know, hey, is the testosterone still working? Do you still feel a difference, you know, when you're on it? Which I totally do. So, you know, that was because, you know, otherwise it's like, why go through it? Mm-hmm. You know, but the nurse there talked to me a little bit because I've talked with her and the doctor there before about, you know, having depression and how the testosterone has helped give me energy. You know, like this last time I went through all that depression. And she was telling me about how her son's kind of going through something similar right now, and he moved back in with her. I guess his best friend just like killed himself recently.
Oh no.
So he's just, you know, and she said the worst part is like, you know, they used to play like Xbox together and everything. and he doesn't want to pick his Xbox up because all he can think about is his buddy. And I get it, you know, I totally do. And she's like, the games they played together were, you know, like his favorite games. So he just has no want to do that. And she goes, before that was kind of how, when he was, you know, down or whatever, that he would jump on there and kind of play a game. And I'm like, oh, geez, yeah. Because I do the same thing. And I was like, God, I can't imagine if something like that happened and, you know, that avenue wasn't there anymore, you know. And she was just kind of talking to me about that and just, you know, and I told her about my story. I'm like, hell, I'm 42 and I live with my mom. So, you know, I was like, I had to move back in because it's just what finances dictated. And, you know, I couldn't hold a job and all that kind of stuff because of depression. So I told her, I told her, you know, just tell him to, you know, just keep fighting. That's all you can do. And I asked her, I said, is he in therapy? And she said, yeah, he just started. I said, okay. You know, it's like, she's a nurse. She knows the stuff to do, you know, she works with doctors and there's mental health providers at the hospital they work at. So I'm sure there's all that, but it was still, you know, it was interesting though, that she was kind of like, hey, he reminds me a lot of you. How are you coping with some of the, you know, and it was just weird because I'm so used to, I'm used to talking about this stuff, but at the same time, it was kind of an odd, you know, like didn't expect it to come from that kind of a source, you know, but I was more than happy to, you know, impart what I could to, you know, whether it helps her or him or both or neither, you know.
Right.
But it was someone asking, you know, it wasn't me just, hey, you know, it was she asked and stuff. So feel bad for the kid. I mean, he's 24, but he's, you know, to us, he's a kid because he's still 20 years younger, you know, but
yes, this is true.
You know, feel bad for him though, for that, and feel bad that his friend, you know, felt that was, and I guess it was kind of a shock because his friend, I guess, had been telling everybody that he was doing better. And I told her, I said, that's the real hell of this, is all it takes is one day. One day you don't feel better, and that's it, you know? And she goes, I know. She's like, it's so horrible. And I'm like, yeah. I'm like, some people get it mildly and can function and live and just kind of, you know, navigate around it. And then there's some where it's just crippling and to the point where you feel like you have to end things. It's sad. So, you know, I just, I know I mention it every time on here, but if you're a person listening and you need help, please reach out. There are people who care, you know, and want to help you. So please, you know, please don't feel, I know the nature of it is to feel alone, but you're not. You're really not. There are people out there who want to help you. So, yeah. And let's see. I'm trying to think of something that maybe that's more cheerful than that. I don't know. I just, you know, our weather's kind of been all over the place again here. So I've been kind of up and down with my, how I'm feeling because of my sinuses and whatever. But as far as like depression goes, I had one day this week and I think it was more emotional hangover than depression looking back at it. But it sure felt like depression that day, you know, like, and actually it was kind of yesterday is what it was. It was like I had messaged you about us recording and to see if we could put it off one more day because I was just exhausted and I was kind of, you know, like, I mean, you've seen it, how like when I'm in that kind of place, I'm kind of cranky and not real engaging. So I was like, this isn't going to make for good podcasting. I mean, it could, because again, you could always say, hey, here's where I am and blah, blah. I just, you know. I'd rather not. So that's about, I think that's what I got for the week. How about you?
Well, I guess the first things first, I did get my sleep study results came back.
Yeah.
Yep. And I have slight sleep apnea. Very slight.
Okay.
Like so slight, I don't need the machine or need to really do anything about it other than, you know, diet and exercise.
Right. Just a couple corks up the nose. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, diet and exercise and stuff. So that's good.
Yeah.
It
is because apnea can be very dangerous.
Right. And it is good. And I don't want to like downplay the fact that I am happy that I'm normal, and I do appreciate
well,
that.
Hold on now. No.
All right, not really normal, but you know.
I'm just messing around, yeah.
So, but it is a little disappointing in the fact that that would have been an easy answer to kind of give me an opportunity to maybe have better sleep and to have more energy during the day and not get as tired as much at night and stuff.
Yeah.
But
yeah, because now you're still in the, like, well, why am I not getting the energy I should be getting from sleep? Yeah.
And so unless it's a very mild form of narcolepsy, it could be, could be anything, or nothing. It could just be me.
Yeah.
I'm kind of going along the lines of it's just me. It's genetically, because like my whole family's this way. So
it's true. Yeah, I've definitely seen it.
So it's just one of those things that I just think it's just me. It's just how I'm made. So I'm just going to have to accept it and just do what I can to work around it and, manage through it, which is what I've always done. And just, it is what it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it is good news though that the test came back fairly normal. So
yeah, as far as like I said goes, yes, but what you said makes a lot of sense. That it's like, well, now it still leaves question marks, which is what you were hoping it wouldn't do.
Right.
Like you said,
I was hoping
it
to get some answers, but
yeah. Well, plus then you can go, okay, well, there's a treatment for it.
Mm-hmm.
Boom, boom, and hopefully that'll, you feel like there's a game plan and you can move forward. And now there can be a game plan, but it's not as, it's still up in the air.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm like, So I'm really trying to like embrace the the good part of it, and it's just taking me a little time.
Yeah,
but
I understand that.
Yeah. The other news that I have is I accepted the new position. So I got a promotion at work. Yay! So I'm very excited to start this new opportunity. It's going to be a lot of work. It's going to probably be a lot more stress than I've been handling with my current job. And it's definitely going to be a lot more visibility. So I'm going to be communicating with a lot more people and have a lot more interactions. So it's going to be a little bit of a stretch, especially coming off of, being in isolation pretty much for the last year.
So true.
So jumping into it. So it's going to be interesting.
Yep. Figure it's going to be for most people going back to work. It's probably like, when you bring a cat home and the cat's just like looking around like, what is all this? Like,
exactly.
So, yeah. That's just what we need to do at the workplace is just put people in one room and block off the rest of the office for a little while.
So, and to do a follow up on the one last piece that I mentioned on the show is, I have been on the lithium, like the doctor ordered for me, for the last, 3 weeks now, I think it is. And at least, 3 weeks because my appointment's in 4 weeks. I'm really not noticing any difference.
Really?
So, yeah.
Like, as far as like the draw to gamble's not lessened or anything really? No? Okay.
No, not really. Huh. Nothing really major difference, which is not unheard of.
Right.
It is not necessarily experimental, but it is not 100% tried and true situation. So, sorry folks for the barking. but it is what it is, and I've been doing really well at managing on my own. Well, not really on my own because I'm still taking the meds.
Yeah, I know what you mean, though.
But yes, but I am managing through it, and I've been staying away from the sites.
Good.
And I haven't gone anywhere, so I haven't gone to the casinos or anything like that. So
Right.
yep. So I haven't gone to the casinos, haven't played on the site, so everything is going good in that manner. Lots of cravings still there, but I'm managing through them. So the important part.
Right. Yeah, and it stinks because this isn't one, like how, like everybody has like something for someone like quitting smoking, like, oh, just hold a golf pencil or a pretzel or all this. There's not much you can really say in this kind of a scenario because there's no replacement for it, because if it's something that scratches that itch, it's probably as bad, or something you could, I mean, unless you just play, games like casinos online where you can't win actual money. There's no money involved, but it's like those aren't fun.
Yeah, they're not as fun.
No, I played those. I like playing blackjack, and when I play on those, it isn't the same. And it isn't about the money being on the line, like for me, as much as it's like part of the reason you play blackjack is other people sitting with you. You're all playing against the house.
Yeah.
Well, it's similar to like playing poker online. If there's no real money in it, people just go all in all the time. They just make the dumbest moves, and it's like you don't even understand how this game is played. You're just, so it isn't the same. So it's like unless there's money on the line, the game's not being played right. So then I'm like about it, so I just don't play, and which means I haven't legit played blackjack in, let me check my watch here. 20 years. Because I haven't been in a casino in at least that long. It's been a long time.
Yeah.
Not on the casino floor, I guess. I've been in a casino hotel, because for Beer Fest, we stayed in a casino hotel in Detroit, but we didn't go into the casino. So, which all I would have been able to do is look at the fancy lights anyways. I was broke, so.
Right. Well, it happens.
Yep.
So that's my updates. That's what's been going on with me. And in honor of me going back in the office, because the new job is definitely I need to be in the office for.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about life after lockdown, how to cope with back to work anxieties. Because it's going to be rough, and I am not going to try to sugarcoat that one. It is going to be tough going back in the office full time.
Yeah.
From the amount of time it takes to get ready in the morning to not being able to, let my dogs out or, I'm a smoker, have a cigarette when I want to have a cigarette.
Not be able to just wear lounge pants and fuzzy slippers all day with a blanket, well, you have a blanket on you at work probably, but.
Yeah. But grab a snack when I want to, from the kitchen.
Yeah.
When I want one. Yep. It's just going to be difficult and not very fun at first. There's going to be some good stuff, but getting into the routine is going to be a pain.
Yeah.
So some of the tips that they're talking about on here, the first tip that they offer is take things slowly. Don't be tempted to overwhelm yourself. We've all been somewhat cocooned away from normality. After being shut away for so long, it's natural to want to throw yourself back into things, but tentatively ease into the new regular, acclimating yourself to it. It can't be denied that under lockdown, the world was a much quieter, calmer place, and many of us have benefited from that peace. To suddenly go from 0 to 100 might be difficult, so keep it simple and don't do too much too soon. So part of that is I have a 2-week transition period, from my old job to my new job. I technically don't need to be in the office, but I'm going to start going into the office on Monday so that I can get myself acclimated to the routine of going into the office, being in the office, and
Yeah.
what that entitles. Because it just entails.
It's similar to like when you're a kid, you know how like a couple weeks before school would come back and your parents would be like, okay, you have a bedtime again, basically, and you know, that kind of stuff or whatever, so that you don't, you know, so that going to bed and getting up at, 6 a.m. or whatever wasn't as difficult. It makes a lot of sense, because otherwise it's real hard.
Right. And, like we were talking before the show and you mentioned, hit the ground running, I don't want to, new day, first day, new job, new everything, that's just so much at once that it just makes more sense to just slowly ease myself into things.
And, that was something I didn't even think about either, is like, there could legitimately be an emotional burnout from this as well. Just going back to work could cause something like that. But then, like you were just saying, all that combined with all the stuff, because it's a new position and new people and new this and that could just be, you don't want on day 2 to, or day 3 of the, to be overwhelmed. As you want to, or at least you want to reduce the chance of that as much as possible. You still might be overwhelmed, who knows, but you don't, that's not a place you want to shoot for.
The next tip that they offer is plan ahead. Know this, you are resilient, and with careful planning, you can manage it. By controlling the controllable and setting the limits that feel right for you personally, you can gradually ease your way into a space where you begin to feel comfortable with the new normal.
Yeah.
So, which is all good things, This weekend, I got to sit down and go through my closet and find items of clothing, because I have lost some weight since I had to be in the office. So I have to find what fits me well and what's going to work so that I have everything all ready to go.
You just, the old bit, you just gotta cinch it with a belt.
Yeah. Just a few strategic pins.
Yeah.
No biggie.
Yeah, right? Nobody will ever notice. Like, just don't look at me from the back. It'll look like somebody when they're, getting an outfit ready and they pin everything at the back, so it looks great from the front, but from the back it's a nightmare, because they've got it pinned and taped and all this stuff to hold it where they want it.
Exactly.
Yep.
And the third tip is new habits. While the lockdown took much away, it did give many of us the time to think and reevaluate. Because this has been a health-driven crisis, it has also given us the opportunity to think about our own health and motivated many to take their physical and mental well-being more seriously. If you have formed new exercise and nutritional regimes, if you felt the benefits of cutting some stress out of your life, keep it up. It is difficult to form new habits, but dark clouds do sometimes have silver linings, and if becoming healthier has been one of them, then stick with it. Which is true. There's a lot of good habits that I have developed from being home and working from home that I want to continue even when I'm in the office. I've cut back on my caffeine, and I have taken more breaks, and I breathe more. I look away from my computer more. All of these things that are little, but they're really good at keeping my stress levels lower.
Right.
So next one, step into change. This has been a seminal point in all of our lives. It takes time to take time to consider how it has impacted you personally. What have you learned about yourself and the life you are leading? Ask yourself searching questions. There may be fundamental things you want to change. See it as an opportunity to review. Give some thought to the new world we're emerging into and how you are going to slot your life into it. What might the future look like? The most dynamic and flexible of us will try to imagine what changes will be required to rise to the challenge. You know, that is definitely a way of going about it. You know it's an inevitable. At least for me, I have to go into the office.
Yeah.
Breaks it down to the perspective of it. I can either go, it's not as comfy as home and this and the other, or I can change my perspective and start looking at it from the other direction, which is I get to see a lot more people. I get to talk to a bunch of different people. I get the opportunity to do new things and to expand my knowledge, all things that I love to do and I enjoy doing.
Yeah.
So really, there's a lot of benefits and a lot of good things that I'm kind of discounting.
And this is something where this is a good opportunity for a gratitude list. Like, and I'm not saying doing it at work, but if you're a person who does gratitude lists, maybe at least for a couple weeks, try to focus on, like, what are you grateful for in the changes? You know, look for your gratitude in those kind of things. Like, okay, I want these to be job related. Like, what about going into the office am I grateful for, kind of a thing, so that it really keeps you from, like you were saying, instead of just sitting in your chair at the, you know, like throwing a tantrum because it's not this and it's not that. And it's like, well, no, it's not. It's a different environment. It's, you know, of course it isn't the same. So, you know, it can kind of help keep you from a negative mindset a little bit there.
Yeah. So definitely, you know, start looking at things differently and really embrace the change and don't lose sight of the good stuff that you've learned over the last year, but also, you know, incorporate them and move forward.
Well, like, yeah, and like you said, that, like you were saying about the changes you've made, that if you can incorporate those along with going back, that's a move in the right direction for you mentally. So definitely don't let things go just because you're going back, especially if they're, like you were saying, you know, the breathing and looking away from your computer occasionally. Like, those are good for your anxiety levels. Looking away is good for your eyesight, you know, because focusing every so often distance away from your computer will help your eyes readjust, because computers, when we're reading on them, they don't refresh the way like reading in a book does, or, you know, reading in a book is different than reading on your screen. And it's not good for your eyes. So, you know, just stuff like that. They're things that are just good for you anyway. You know, definitely don't lose track of those if possible. Or, you know, another side of it too is like eating, you know, like what you're having for lunch. Maybe at home you take the time to prepare a nice lunch. You know, you do your salad or whatever it is for lunch. Is, you know, try to, you know, keep doing those things as well as you can, so you don't slip into eating at the company cafeteria and making bad decisions, or ordering, you know, food or going to, you know, fast food or something when you've done so good getting away from it, you know.
Exactly. And remember, you know, perception's 9/10 of the situation. You can't change the situation. You have to change the perception.
Yep.
So, number 5, accept. The world has changed. And while we are entitled to mourn the loss of the old one, we do have to come to terms with a new way of life. The good news is that we are humans and we are highly adaptable. Moving forward, we must aim to maintain our optimism and hope. One of the best ways to do that is to magnify the positives. Sometimes we're guilty of dwelling on the downsides, but by reframing, you can always galvanize yourself to see things in a more hopeful way. Just thinking of how far we've come by working together in a short space of time, just thinking of the technological, easy to say,
Yeah,
and scientific progress we are making should spur us on and give us the courage to keep going. So there you go. You know, and I think they make a very good point. is yes, things are different. Yes, things are not what we are comfortable with
or what we want,
or
because
we want.
a
Yeah.
lot of people would probably rather, like you said, I saw what's her name? There's a comedian / kind of friend of Salty Language named Valerie Tossi, and she posted how she's been doing interviews via Zoom. And she goes, while these are not ideal, she's like, it beats the hell out of having to sit in traffic for 3 hours to go to an interview, or an audition. And it was like, so that, like that, it's like, yes, the interview process might not be the same as being in the room with someone where you kind of get a vibe, but at the same time, she also isn't spending half her day just in traffic. That allows her all that time to do. So, something changed and it's like, well, there's a good and a bad here and, that's okay. But, because it's going to be the same or different because it's not the same. I mean, it just sounds really stupid, but it's the truth. It's like I said, it's different because it's different. You're going somewhere else. So just try to make the best of it.
And that's it. I mean, it just is. And we have to deal with where we're at right now. And part of that is accepting that this is the way things are right now and they're going to change again. So we just have to adapt.
And there's something it didn't mention in there that I'm a little surprised about, which was also to be patient with others.
Yes.
Because we're all going to be going through a weird adjustment, post vaccines. And if we get to a point to where we're not wearing masks anymore, like getting back to the quote normal, kind of situation. But everybody that's going back into these situations is coming from a year essentially of mostly isolation, as far as like workplace goes. Because maybe you're used to working with 20 people around you and you're at home. It's like, well, I have my pets, and my spouse or somebody else, maybe a roommate or whatever it is, but it isn't the same. It's a whole different environment. So people's patience may not be exactly the same. Like you even mentioned, it's like, there's a lot of people who have pets that are going to have worries now, like, are my pets going to have separation anxiety when I go back to work? Are they going to be okay? So they'll be thinking about that while they're at work. You don't, like on any other day with any other person, you don't know what's going on inside their head. Mm-hmm. So try to be patient and kind to other people because they may be going through various struggles, or maybe, maybe they've got to leave a loved one or somebody that kind of needs help around the house a little bit, and now that's not there or something, so you just don't know what someone else might be dealing with. So be patient with your situation and yourself, but also try to be patient and kind with everybody else too, because everybody's going through weird adjustments here. We have been for the last year, it's a year plus now, whatever. So it's not going to change when you're going back to work. That's all going to be the same. Everybody's going to, be deer in headlights a little bit for, until things kind of feel normal again.
Right. And, I have to remember to stay patient and kind because my husband's world is just upended. With me going back in the office, he won't have a hot lunch. He won't have anyone to make his dinner.
Yeah.
So
he's going to starve. Yeah. There's just nothing that can be done. He'll starve.
He's probably going to end up starving.
It's unfortunate. Yeah, R.I.P. your husband. Yeah.
But I mean, we joke about it, but
there is an adjustment there, though, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is going to be an adjustment for sure. We're used to seeing each other and talking to each other during the day and stuff, and a certain level of care.
Yeah.
That I'll still make him dinner and stuff and try to help take care of things, but it's not going to be the same.
Yeah.
And it's going to be tough. It's going to be adjustment for both of us.
Yeah, like there's quite a few people I know that have gone back that,
they talked about how they really loved spending more time with their kids because of the kids being home from school. And don't get me wrong, there's also a very strong element of parents where they're like, they can go back anytime now.
Right.
But there are a
exactly.
lot of parents, it's like even listening to some of like the WWE wrestlers talking
Mhm.
about how much they hate that they can't go out and perform for fans every night, but they love the fact that since they're performing in one spot, they can spend way more time with their family now instead of being on the road 300 days a year.
Mhm.
So once they get going, that's all going to go away. There's a lot of people, it's like that's going to take away a lot of that family time and stuff. So like I said, it's going to suck on some elements, but we all were doing this stuff before, so just kind of got to get used to doing it again, whether you want to, whether you're, being drugging, kicking and screaming or going there on your own accord, but
Yeah, exactly. So, well, I don't know. What do you think? I think we might have a little bit of a short show.
yeah, I think so too. But I think it was fine because that was a good topic because a lot of people are starting to go through this now because, I've heard more and more people where they're either going back to work part weeks or it's full time, kind of going back. So,
Well, now
Yeah.
it's becoming that time.
Yep.
I had my first shot on the vaccine. Get my second shot on the 15th. So, hopefully everyone is going and getting their vaccinations when they can, and taking care of themselves and their loved ones.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we're approaching the. I would hate to say end because I don't think there'll ever
Yeah.
be an end per se.
Right. We don't
But
know for sure. Yeah, exactly.
I think we're approaching we're tapering off
Yeah.
stuff and we're
There-
getting back to a new normal.
Yeah, some sort semblance of where we were before. Exactly. Yeah.
Mm.
Things will have changed, of course, but there's a lot of things that will still be, go back to the way they were. So,
Mhm.
yeah, I agree with you. I know I'm with you. I'm hesitant to say end also because we really don't know because there's no cure, so there's no full on end at this point, but
Mhm.
who knows? We'll see. It definitely seems to be going a positive direction at the moment. So, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Well, folks, we've covered a lot of ground today. I can't even talk. Covered a lot of ground today, and I know you have some thoughts, ideas, comments, opinions, questions, all of the above.
Mhm.
You know what to do. You can reach us at the Crazy Life Podcast at .weebly.com is our website. Crazy Life Podcast at outlook.com is our email address. If you would like to talk to me direct, you feel free to reach me on Twitter at Jen's Crazy Life. That's Jen with a G. And Brian, how can they reach you?
You can also find the show on Twitter at The Crazy Life Pod, where I post when new episodes go up. You can find me on Twitter at Stunami. You can also find me at salty_language or at saltylanguage.com. Those are the links for my other podcast, where it's me and my best friend just talking about whatever crosses our paths. Like this week, we talked about bad tattoos, an all bread diet, which was just a joke. Fast food chicken sandwiches. We talked about the vaccine a little bit. What else did we talk about? Oh, we had ideas for Bloody Mary chicken and just different stuff. I know there's a lot of food in there this week, but normally we talk more like kind of pop culture and just whatever life throws at us. So if you're into that, please check us out. Show is not safe for work, so please be careful of that. You can also find Henno on Twitter at Ida Henno or at Henno Heiter on Facebook. You can check out his other podcast at MTN Pod on Twitter. I forgot what their new show is. He talked about it before, and I can't remember what it is now. I think the new episode is like songs that like pump you up, basically, which I was originally invited to be on, but things fell through and it couldn't work out. But for anyone interested, mine would be Walk by Pantera, because anytime I need to get kind of fired up, I put that song on and it does it. Like if I were a pro wrestler, that would be the song, or a boxer or anything like that. That's the song I'd walk out to, because it always makes me want to like run through a brick wall. So,
well, it depends on what you mean by pumping you up.
Yeah.
But if we're talking like make you feel good and make you happy type of thing,
yeah,
it's Walking on Sunshine or Wake Me Up Before You Go for me.
Right.
They make me smile every single time.
Yeah, that works. I don't know exactly what parameters they were doing for the show, but yeah, that's. I think that's probably why Heno originally mentioned it to me, because he knew my first one would be Walk by Pantera. Because I've mentioned it on Salty Language before, because it's a song that always just amps me up.
Yeah.
I've listened to it various times before I'm going to do something, just because it really is. It's similar, like we've talked on here about power poses. How like before you go into a room, you kind of strike a pose like you're Superman or whatever it ends up being, and then it makes you feel more confident before you do something. So,
and I would say if you're talking like amps you up to like go work out or go take on the world type of a thing,
yeah,
that would be another one, Bites the Dust.
Yeah, that's fair. That's a good one. Yeah, I'm very curious to hear what they choose, because of the group of people that are on that show. Sometimes their music choices shock me. So, so anyways, yeah, go check out that show. I've been on it a couple of times if you want to go check those episodes out also. And let's see, we're part of the Tangent Bound Network, which can be found at tangentboundnetwork.com. And I think that's all of that. So, Facebook. We can be found on Facebook at facebook.com/group/crazylifepodcast. So please come join us over there. Or don't, whatever. And also, as I said earlier, please reach out to others if you feel you need help. There's all sorts of people out there willing to help you. It was really weird that, my doctor even mentioned that to me as we were talking about weight loss. He's like, don't forget that, he's like, we have a lot of people who work here who are willing to help you with this kind of thing. And he's meaning from the mental health people. There's a nutritionalist there. There's, so him, of course, so there are literally a team at my disposal that can help me attack this. And when he said that, and I was kind of like, it's funny because I know it, but it never hurts to kind of have that like reminder of it. It's like, oh yeah, there are people here who are, trained to do these things and help. So I may go talk to, I have therapy scheduled soon, but I may talk to the other, again, about a few things maybe to help me. And, yeah, so, don't forget that. And again, like I said about going back to work and stuff, it's like, please be kind to yourself and others, and help when you can. If you see somebody struggling with something and you can help, please do so. Be safe, of course, in how you're doing it and everything because of COVID and whatnot. But, please help out if you can. It just makes the world a better place if we're all putting that kind of energy forward. Like just positive changes instead of just putting anger and hate out there. So, yeah, there you go.
Well, folks, with that, go out there and have the best week you possibly can. And remember, get your vaccine.